We saved over $900 on our last trip without clipping a single coupon or sleeping in a hostel. And we didn't do anything complicated. We just had the right travel apps.
You bet. Most travelers lose $300 to $500 before they even leave the airport in roaming charges, bad exchange rates, booking mistakes they didn't catch until it was too late. So today, we're sharing the 5 apps that we use that stop those leaks before they start and will help you save a lot of money.
Now, the most expensive travel mistake isn't booking the wrong flight or hotel. It's using your phone the way you use it at home.
Exactly. Roaming charges, currency conversion traps, booking sites that look cheap but end up costing you more. These are tiny leaks that add up to hundreds of dollars per trip. And most people, they don't notice until they check their statement at the end of the month.
Exactly. Now, after 17 years and 120 countries, we've narrowed it down to 5 apps that are actually going to help you stop the bleeding. Not apps we downloaded once and forgot about, apps that we use every single trip.
Before we start, here's what an average 2-week trip costs you before you even realize it if you're not using these apps. Roaming charges, $10 to $15 a day. That's $140 to $210 just to use your phone.
Currency exchange is another one. Those markups, banks and airport kiosks can skim 3 to 7%. On a $2,000 trip, that's $60 to $140 you'll never see again.
And then there's the hotel you booked because it was $40 cheaper a night. Except it ended up being 45 minutes from everything you can see. So you ended up taking taxis, transit, and time. Suddenly you're spending more, not less.
Now, here's how 5 apps fix all 3 of those problems. And we'll go through them in order. Hotels, data, money, flights, and getting around.
First up, Booking.com.
So here's what we actually do. We open Booking.com, filter by location, breakfast included, free cancellation, parking, and review score. And in about 30 seconds, everything is right at our fingertips. Then we switch it to map view. This is the single most important thing because hotel descriptions, they can lie.
Oh yeah, near the city center can mean a 10-minute walk, but it can also mean 45-minute bus ride. The map tells you which one it is.
Yeah.
So here's what we look for. How close is the hotel to transit? Are there restaurants nearby? And are they near anything we actually want to see? A cheaper hotel that's isolated costs you more in taxis than you saved on the rate.
We also filter for breakfast included. Now that sounds small, but starting the day fed and caffeinated saves you $15 to $25 per person per day. On a 10-day trip for 2 people, that's $300 to $500 you don't spend on breakfast.
Now we're part of Booking.com's Genius program because we book through there a lot and it sweetens the deal. Level 1 gets you 10% off. Level 2 goes up to 15%. Level 3, you get up to 20% on selected stays. We've been using it long enough that we regularly see huge discounts, credits, and free upgrades.
But here's our actual rule. Use Booking.com to compare value, not just price. Check the hotel's own website too. Sometimes Booking Direct gives you better perks or loyalty points. And always check the cancellation policy. A room that's $20 cheaper but non-refundable is a bad deal if your flight changes, and we all know that can happen in today's world.
That is our favorite option. We always book a free cancellation, and we've never had a problem with Booking.com.
Nope. The next travel app we want to highlight is Wise. This one's about a cost that you barely notice until you add it all up. Currency fees are sneaky. A bad exchange rate here, a foreign transaction fee there, an ATM that gives you a terrible conversion. Heck, a card terminal asking, would you like to pay in Canadian dollars?
Oh, that last one? That's the trap. When a terminal abroad asks you if you want to pay in Canadian dollars or your home currency, or if you want to pay in the local currency, always, almost without exception, choose local currency. Because when you pick Canadian dollars, you're letting the merchant's payment system do the conversion. And the rate is often terrible. I'm talking 3 to 7% worse than the real exchange rate.
Now, it feels helpful, right? Because it's like someone offering to carry your suitcase and then charging you rent. Wise lets you hold and spend in over 40 currencies. You convert money when the rate is good and then spend in the local currency when you travel to that destination.
Now with Wise, we keep euros, pounds, and US dollars loaded on ours. So when we land, we're spending like a local. We have no surprise fees.
And here's a hot tip for you. Always check your ATM fees before withdrawing as well. Even good cards can't outrun a bad ATM. Don't rely on one card. We carry a travel card, a backup, and emergency cash. And convert money when the exchange rate works in your favor, not at the airport kiosk at midnight.
It's a great card that you can carry, and it acts just like a regular credit card without all the fees.
The next app is Airalo. This one changed how we travel because staying connected, it used to be a nightmare. You'd land somewhere all bleary-eyed, find some SIM card kiosk and hand over your passport, swap to that little microscopic SIM card while jet lag, and pray it'll lose your original in the bottom of your bag.
Oh, yeah. With an eSIM app like Airalo, you buy a data plan before you leave home. Once you land, you turn it on and it works. You don't have to swap out any SIM cards. You don't even have to put a sticker on your existing one. It just magically works.
And the money saver here, it's obvious. Canadian roaming fees are brutal. $10 to $15 a day for 2 weeks, that's up to $210 it can cost you. An Airalo plan for the same trip might cost you $15 to $30 total.
But the bigger value is convenience. Once you land, you immediately have maps, messaging, ride apps, WhatsApp. You have no hunting for airport Wi-Fi that needs you to verify your email on a phone that isn't connected yet. That's the travel paradox that tests your character, let me tell you.
Yeah. So here's 3 tips for you. 1, install the eSIM before you leave, but don't activate it until you actually arrive because the clock starts immediately. 2, make sure your phone is unlocked and eSIM compatible before you buy. And 3, be realistic about data. Maps and messaging, they don't need too much, but uploading videos and streaming, they definitely will chew it up.
Listen, Airalo isn't always the absolute cheapest in every country. Sometimes the local SIM wins, but for short trips, multi-country trips, or late-night arrivals, it's one of our most useful tools. Our rule is we buy enough data to be functional the moment we land, and then if we find better deals when we're there, we go for it.
The next app has to do with flights, Skyscanner. This is our go-to when we have flexibility. And flexibility is the single biggest travel money saver. If you can move your dates by a day or fly midweek or be open about which airport you use, you can find dramatically better prices and save big money.
And that's the magic of Skyscanner. It lets you compare across airlines and booking sites. You then can set price alerts and search a whole country or region when you're flexible on a destination. We use it differently than most people because before we decide where to go, we can check to see if there are any deals. Instead of, we must fly to this city on this day, we ask, where can we go for a better price? That mindset, it alone can save hundreds of bucks on a great vacation.
Yeah, and price alerts are gold. Flight prices move constantly. Trying to guess the perfect booking moment is basically astrology with baggage fees.
It's gold, Jerry, gold. But Skyscanner is just a starting point, just like everything else. We never just rely on one thing. So always check the airline's own website before you book. Compare the total price, the baggage rules, that's really important, seat fees, and the cancellation policy, and then look who's actually selling the ticket.
Yeah, the cheapest fare is often cheap because it includes nothing. No checked bag, no seat selection, no flexibility, basically no joy.
And that's the most important part of a vacation, right? And then be extremely careful with self-transfer tickets. A lot of people think, I can fly Air Canada one way and then change to British Airways the next. No way. Separate airlines on separate bookings is bad. If your first flight is late, the second airline, they don't care. So that bargain ticket can suddenly become very expensive. So our biggest rule is use Skyscanner to find the deal, then do your homework before you book.
The next app we want to talk about is Roam to Rio. This one solves a problem everyone's had. You're looking at a map, two places look close, and then you have no idea how to actually get between them. Well, Rome to Rio shows you every option: flights, trains, buses, ferries, driving, and weird combinations of all of the above.
This saves money because the obvious choice isn't always the best choice. A lot of times people will book flights, but then find out a train is faster door to door and cheaper. Oftentimes you'll take a taxi when there's a cheap direct bus right from the airport. Or you end up renting a car when you could have just taken a ferry and train combo that is much cheaper, less stressful, and you have no parking fees.
We especially love it for Europe, where trains, budget airlines, regional buses, and ferries can make trip planning feel like assembling IKEA furniture without the instructions. Damn, nobody wants to do that.
But the same rule applies as Skyscanner. Rome to Rio is just the starting point. It's not the final word. So once you find a route, go to the actual train company or bus company or ferry operator and check the price.
Because remember, schedules change, prices change, and some routes technically exist, but you don't want to attempt them with luggage, right? So our tip: use Rome to Rio early before you book hotels or flights. Transportation can reshape the entire trip. You might realize that you should stay near a train station or fly into a different airport, or maybe even break up the journey with an overnight stop. Our rule is this: see the possibilities, then verify before booking.
These travel apps are tools. They're not magic, so you still have to use your brain. I know, it's annoying. Every single one of these apps, they work best when you treat it as a comparison tool, not a one-click solution. So make sure to check cancellation policies, check the final price, check that the route actually exists, and read the instructions for your eSIM before you go.
Now, one other thing that I want to mention: don't keep 50 travel apps on your phone. That's just chaos with icons. These 5 cover almost everything: Booking.com for hotels, Airalo for data, Wise for money, Skyscanner for flights, and Rome to Rio for getting around.
Together, they stop the 3 biggest travel money leaks that are out there: bad hotel locations that cost you in transport, roaming and currency fees that bleed you dry, and flights booked at the wrong time on the wrong platform.
Heck, on a 2-week trip, that's easily $300 to $600 that you keep in your pocket per trip.
So those are the 5 best travel apps for saving money. They don't make travel free, unfortunately. That app hasn't been invented yet, but if you find it, let me know.
But they do help you spend your money on the parts of the trip that actually matter.
So if you're new here, that's Dave and I'm Deb, and we have traveled to more than 120 countries on all 7 continents with more than 20 years experience. And we share practical travel tips that work in the real world today.
Now, we also want to hear from you because you're a valuable source of information. What travel app do you swear by? Drop it in the comments because we're always looking for new tools, and someone else watching might need that recommendation for their next trip.
Thanks for watching, everyone. And if this helped, make sure to hit subscribe, give it a hype, and we'll see you on the next video.
Thanks for watching.